In order to remove the grips from the CS1, you'll need a 2mm or a 5/64 hex key. First of all, remove the 4 screws, 2 on either side of the main grips. The removal of these 4 screws will allow the front part of the grips to be removed. Use the tab at the base and lift up. Repeat this on both sides and the front piece will pull away. That can now be placed to one side. This just leaves the rear section attached to the frame. In order to remove the rear section, as it has a console built into it, you'll also need to remove the small screw between the push buttons and the console. Again, lift the rear rubber section off the 2 mounting posts. Do this on both sides, and that will allow the grips to become free and then can be lifted away from the body. As you can see, the lens for the display and all the push buttons are integrated into the rear section of the grips. There's no disassembly required on here, but if you do need to clean out the push buttons, either use a blast of air or that can be rinsed in water. Obviously make sure it's dry before reassembling. You now have the grips removed and access to the circuit board. Replacing the grips on the CS1 is just reversing the process of removing them. The rear section has to go on first. Make sure you have your screw in place at the rear. Tuck in the top of the grips first. Open up the grips so they can get around the post on either side of the frame and gently push it into place. Check that the rear section clips over the posts on both sides of the frame, and then tighten in the rear retaining screw. It doesn't need to be too tight. Once the rear section is in place, front section can be applied. Tuck it in underneath the trigger guard first of all, and then pivot it around until it drops into place, clicking the top and bottom on both sides over the retaining posts on the frame. Screws can now be inserted. Grips have then been replaced.